LeBlanc, L-E, capital B-L-A-N-C.
Thank you, Mr. LeBlanc. Go ahead.
I'm Tom LeBlanc, stepfather of victim Kimberly Ware, who was 53 years old, disabled, and living on a disability pension. Her greatest fear was becoming homeless, so her mother, Pat LeBlanc, and I purchased a home for her in Paradise, allowing her to easily walk to Safeway, the library, the food bank, and her pharmacy. Even with her limited resources, Kimberly, who adored her pets, also bought consumables for her network of less fortunate friends, from which she gained much pleasure. She was offbeat, brilliant, witty, funny, and a challenge in her own childlike manner of understanding danger. On November 8th, 2018, in a matter of 4 hours, we lost our retirement home and all of our lifelong possessions. The home we bought for Kimberly and all her possessions. And the realization that Kimberly never made it out of her home and was killed in that blazing fire. The loss of our neighborhood and the loss of our beloved town, Paradise. The loss of Kimberly has deeply affected the mental health of her two siblings, Kent and Rebecca. In the early weeks after the fire, Ken had extreme difficulty focusing on just simple tasks. He had trouble sleeping and experienced anxiety and depression. Rebecca was depressed for days over the thought of how painful Kimber's last minutes were being overcome by fire and the breathing in of soot-filled hot air. These people up here on the wall they had lives. They're not just statistics. They had names. They were grandmothers, grandfathers, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers, and in 4 hours, gone. A few days before November 8th, 2018, PG&E sent robocalls to all residents advising they would be working on inspecting a transmission tower. Are you kidding me, Your Honor? That tower was built in 1919. It outlived the guys who put it up there. But the repairs were never made. And today we know the consequence. Might this suggest that they knew there was a high risk in our area with these robocalls? Then on the morning of November 8th, a neighbor advised us that a wildfire was raging and headed toward Paradise. Shortly afterwards, we received a mandatory evacuation. My wife and I grabbed as many essential items as we could with the intention of driving across town to rescue Kimberly and her beloved pets. To our horror, the Paradise Police directed 2 lanes of traffic south to Orville down Pence Road. Traffic across town was impossible. And we were forced to follow the flow of traffic directed by law enforcement. This placed an unimaginable guilt on Pat that lasted for several months. I immediately called Kimberly, pleading with her to get her walker, her pets, and walk out to the street, assuring her that someone would give her a ride. Pat and I spent the next 5 days searching for Kimberly at all of the staged shelters for displaced families. And then the dreaded knock on the door, and the officer from the sheriff's office who informed us that Kimberly's remains were found in her home. The home where she had lived feeling safe, secure, comfortable, independent, and with family close by. Though that level of material and sentimental loss is devastating, the profound grief associated with losing an offbeat, brilliant, witty, kind, caring daughter in that raging fire is incomprehensible. Being unable to rescue your child is an incalculable parental nightmare. This fire could have been prevented. To compound that pain, Kimberly's mother had been diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer in March of 2018 and was in treatment at the time of the campfire. The fire, the loss of 2 homes along with all possessions, and most deeply the loss of Kimber, had a direct impact on Pat's mental, physical, and emotional state of mind, fighting that dreaded disease. During those painful months after losing Kimberly, I observed firsthand Pat's inability to cope with the loss of her daughter. The personal failure and guilt of not rescuing Kimber from harm's way, and her feelings of despair that absolutely devastated her health. She lost her battle with cancer on December 6, 2019. I have now moved to a new home in Winters, California with our 2 pets, living alone with the memories of my beloved wife and daughter. That fire should never have happened. At Pat's celebration of life, both Kent and daughter Rebecca spoke of the positive impact Kimberly had on their lives and on their community. Her presence, her humor, her quick wit, her unique personality, her interest in spirit, and her love of her animals and friends elevated our community of paradise. She had real comfort with her own home and her family nearby. That fire which caused the death of our Kimberly should never have happened. In closing, as a retired teacher, coach, and administrator with over 40 years of experience in the profession, I finished my career as the athletic coordinator of the 50-plus Department of Defense dependent high schools in Europe. At all times, I was constantly committed and dedicated to teaching these fine young athletes the importance of honor, respect, integrity, and sportsmanship. To ensure that all games were played with the spirit of the aforementioned, we hire officials, referees, and judges to ensure a level playing field. PG&E abdicated their responsibility to enforce the rules of safety to the citizens of paradise, and thereby causing untold damage to the lives, the livelihoods, and the possessions of an entire town. In sports and in life, when one breaks a rule, a penalty must be assessed. Unfortunately, PG&E was busy putting profits and bonuses first. Safety is the only thing that should have received top priority. You leave this courtroom, Your Honor, as a victim, because I have been scarred for life. If they feel just a little bit of pain today from my story, mission accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. LeBlanc.